allowed your personal encouragement to drive you forward across all areas of your life, how would your life actually change? Because that's one thing I've really learned a lot about just studying manifestation work, studying goal setting, studying productivity, and watching my own journey progress is, I am a complete procrastinator. And I will be the first person to be like, I really just don't want to do it today. I just don't really want to do it, and we can have all of these excuses as to why we can't do something. And what I've really came to find is you will notice that the resistance to doing the thing is actually worse and more scary and more big in our minds than just doing the thing. And the moment we do the thing anyway, it wasn't a big deal. And it really wasn't that hard. And it really wasn't that big and scary. And it's so funny when we look at it this way, because you can start to realize that we can either approach things from a very positive, expected mindset, or we can approach things from a very negative, ego-driven, victim mentality mindset. So over the years, I've learned that we can apply this to every area of our lives. And this can look like even going into your productivity process, how you create things, how you show up in your job, how you show up for your children or your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend. It can look like so many different ways that we show up in our lives. And what I've really learned is, are you approaching things from the lens of giving yourself encouragement, feeling that you're enough, and moving forward anyway, despite fear? Or are you allowing the fear to drive you, the emotions to drive you, and allowing yourself to stay stuck in a very stagnant energy from moving forward? And I get it. Like, this year has been crazy. There has been moments where it feels like I can just be in like freeze mode and not wanting to do anything. And I think it's about giving yourself grace and really allowing yourself to be like, okay, today I really do just want to rest and recuperate and recharge. And then there are other days where it's like, am I just saying this because I'm creating excuses, or do I actually want to move forward? And you have to really get clear with yourself. Like, it's this moment of really asking yourself, am I allowing myself to stay stuck because I am just giving myself excuses and staying in resistance? Or am I allowing myself to move forward anyway, with fear in the backseat and me driving, and knowing that fear is still going to be there, but that's okay. I can still move forward anyway. So over the years, a lot of people, I don't think I've really dived deep into my backstory a lot, but I used to have issues with like self-neglect, self-harm, really a lot of body shame. And I used to be a very negative, criticizing person. And, if you come from a background where growing up, you always had so much judgment and criticism, and like everything you do was never right, like it gets ingrained in you. So what I've learned, and this is weird, is when we have that as our background, it's almost more normal to give ourselves discouragement. And it's almost more normal to beat ourselves up. And it's more normal to see that and feel that disappointment and really strive for that validation seeking from a place of, I know I'm going to see the disappointment anyway. It's weird how we can normalize this in our mind because we have associated our lives through this lens of disappointment, disencouragement, self-criticism, self-neglect, And what we really are doing is we are starving our soul from this lens of never feeling enough. So, one of the most powerful things that we can do for ourselves is flip the channel around and realize that we always hold the power to change the story around. You don't have to live that way. And what I've really learned is it can be an addiction to fall into that trap of self-criticism and beating yourself up and being your worst critic and really allowing yourself to fall down that rabbit hole. And especially with this year being so crazy, I think it's so important to talk about this because we have to see it from this lens of the easiest way to heal, move forward, go into your next level is to embody your emotional empowerment. And the personal development world has this so backwards because they are convinced to tell you that you are broken and you need fixed and you have to do all these things to get there. And it's this constant obsession and fixation with this next level thinking. It's this constant fixation of you have to clear all of your wounds, you have to heal all of your blocks before you can move forward. And what I've learned is it's about holding space for both. Knowing that there's fear, knowing that there's ego, but also knowing that there's soul, also knowing that there's light consciousness, there's co-creator consciousness, but you're also the victim. It's the ultimate paradox we have to comprehend, that we can have a choice of living from that lens of fear or soul. And when we do that, what I've really noticed is it's almost as if we are starving our soul and not allowing ourselves to access our own higher truth. The easiest way to overcome this is leaning on your sense of encouragement, your sense of being your own cheerleader, that sense of validation from within, not from without. And instead, we're changing the entire story around. Because here's just it. If we're not allowing ourselves to do this, like on an active, consistent basis, we will fall back into that addiction pattern. We will fall back into that default mode. And as we do that, what's really going on is we're not allowing ourselves to fully be in the full acceptance of ourselves. And what I've learned is from my own background and my own history, like it's really about choosing to have that moment of where you get back, you're down, but you get back up again, and then you get back up again. And eventually getting back up is way better, and then you start neutralizing out that old story. And this is how we truly heal. We heal from the level of emotional empowerment. And when we allow ourselves to access encouragement over discouragement, we allow ourselves to access what is working, what is thriving, meeting ourselves where we're at, accepting ourselves where we're at, and allowing ourselves to really get into that energy of full acceptance of self. So when it comes to visioning work, where do you most feel that you get stuck? When it comes to goal setting, where do you find yourself really getting stuck in inaction? When it comes to following through, where do you suddenly stop? Really hone in on ask yourself these questions. I'd love to hear from you below. If you have any questions on this or you'd like to share your own soul takeaways, drop them below.